Hey everybody, welcome to The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Noland, and tonight we're going to cover sad news indeed. One of the founding members of the Eagles, Randy Meisner, has passed away at the age of 77. Now, most of my viewers could tell you, this is not a tribute channel. I don't cover every pop star or every rock star that passes away. Now, I've heard criticisms on these kinds of videos, tribute videos, usually from people who say things like, yeah, now you do a tribute video on him or her, now that they're dead. Well, all I can say is that's the perfect time to do a tribute video. Now, first of all, we're talking about the passing of a giant here, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, Randy was one of the 4 original Eagles, and he even survived with the addition of Don Felder in the band. His voice was exquisite. Take It to the Limit has got to be one of the pantheons in pop rock radio, and nobody could sing it like him. But it was when I heard the Eagles album, my favorite Eagles album, by the way, even over the magnificent Hotel California, is Desperado. And Randy Meisner has the perfect song, a song he co-wrote with Henley and Fry, and he takes the lead vocals, and it sets the tone for the other half of the tale, because this album is not just a collection of songs done in an almost country western fashion. No, it's still got rock and roll balls. I'm telling you, this is a masterpiece in rock. And Randy Meisner's lead vocals, his song, sets the tale on fire for side 2. But it wasn't always sunshine and roses for Randy. He had an up and down road, just like most of us. He started off just like I started off, doing garage bands, practicing in sheds or whatever they could, whatever building they could find to do that, playing at local clubs, different halls, whatever gigs they could possibly get. He slowly wound up in California and was in a couple of key band moments where it looked like that current band. And I won't get into particular bands here because that would take us 10 minutes to go through those. I mean, this guy was passing out newspapers and making $5 a week. All right? Been there. But he was steadfast, and pretty soon he was becoming quite known as a good session player. This was his connection into Linda Ronstadt's band. Now, Linda Ronstadt's band at this time had been getting a whole lot of good press. I mean, they actually were covering her band almost as well as they were covering her. And of course, when Randy Meisner joined in, guess who else was in the band? Well, you had Glenn Frey, Don Henley, and Bernie Leadon. Now, even before Randy showed up, Don and Glenn had already been talking amongst themselves. They wanted to form their own band. They wanted to become their own act. And Randy Meisner was in total agreement. He was ready for just such a band himself. And so they approached Linda and her management, and instead of them getting all upset, Linda absolutely told them, go out and do this. You need to do this. And she continued to support them as they would continue to support her. Even her manager was helpful in this transition. Now, keep in mind, he was also a member of Poco before he joined the Eagles. But during the recording of their album, they mixed the album, refusing to let Randy participate. That's when he quit. And guess what they did to the proposed cover, already shot? They just pasted a dog over Randy. Not only that, they kept his bass parts So he's all over that album as a bass player, and they kept all of his backing vocals, only replacing his lead vocals. I think it was on 2 cuts, right? So we see this man as a man who is a team player, all right? That would be evident in the Eagles, but he was also a man of principles, and he hated being left out of the creative process. My kind of rock legend. But still early in the Eagles' history, even after they added Don Felder on guitar and they were a quintet, Randy Meisner had had enough. They were in the middle of a tour. He thinks he caught the flu and his voice was almost gone, and so he wanted to pass up their encore, Take It to the Limit. Well, that wasn't good enough for one member of the band. Can we all say Glenn Frey? More on Glenn Frey in a moment. I mean, to the point of a physical altercation between these two in the backstage, Randy Meisner finally quit the Eagles. Or more accurately said, Randy Meisner was forced out of the Eagles. And this wouldn't be the last time that Glenn Frey was behind just such an act. I looked up a bunch of photos on the internet for this guy, and more often than not, he's always smiling. This guy is known for being one of the nicest guys in rock and roll. So that's why I'm doing a tribute to Randy Meisner. Now, of course, the tale within the Eagles would continue. It wouldn't be long before Don Felder was forced out by Glenn Frey, once again, only this time with the clear aid of Don Henley. But you see, this is a time to reflect on the death of Glenn Frey and Randy Meisner. You see, we can look at each one of these individuals as a story unto its own, like 2 books, 2 novels. Now, what do we have with that book about Glenn Frey? We see that he is both the hero and the villain in his own life. It doesn't take away his greatness. I am a major fan of the Eagles, first of all. I am a major fan of Glenn Frey. I loved his solo stuff. I even liked the guy on TV until I got to know more about the man, and exactly like Stevie Nicks. Now, you guys know I hold her in high regard. Wonderful voice, nice looks, and a wonderful songwriter. But I don't like the woman, all right? And I don't like Glenn Frey, or didn't like him while he was alive. But see, that was part of his epitaph, and he was responsible for the way he acted. You know what? The way he acted actually was part of the driving force that made the Eagles so great. So I'm not trying to be too harsh on this guy. I give him his full due, and Don Henley's for that matter. But now, let's pick up this book about Randy Meisner. What do we have here? Well, we certainly have a hero. We certainly have a nice guy. As we read this story, we want to be more like him. He is heroic enough to stand up for his own rights. He is gentle enough to be malleable within a group until he's just had it. And he's tough enough to go fisticuffs one-on-one with anybody who really pisses him off. Quite heroic. But you know what I'm not seeing in this book? I'm not seeing the villain in him. Matter of fact, the villain in his story is the villain in this story. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. You know, that helps with channel growth. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the tribe, it's really easy. We cover all sorts of stuff on this channel concerning classic rock, rock in the condition that it is in today, live events, all that stuff, right? And all you have to do to be notified of each and every one of those videos is tap on that subscribe to the tribe button. You just knew I was going to say that, right? And then, of course, tap that top bell icon and you'll be notified of all my stuff. All right, I'm Michael Noland, and together, folks, especially in the comments, that's where we become the tribe. That's what subscribe to the tribe is all about. And through those comments and interactions, not just with me, but with each other in those comments, and I see some wonderful interactions in those comments. Well, all I can say is that makes us a tribe. And so my usual sign off at this point is, I'm Michael Noland, we are the tribe, and I'll see you in my next video.